Lemon Amiga presents a Predseda video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi there everybody, welcome to another Lemon Amiga play guide and review. This one is a special one. I didn't expect to be making this one so soon. This is our 8K sub special video featuring a game that many players haven't heard about or seen before. Yes, this is Banzai, created by Swedish Software in 1989. Banzai is, well, it was supposed to be a commercial game. I'm not quite sure how much this was released for because none of the magazines reviewed it. In fact, nobody's reviewed it. In fact, I can't find any comments about this game online virtually at all except from the Lemon Amiga database. The game begins with a high score table and also the instructions as well. You are a Japanese kamikaze pilot. Unfortunately, you've been shot down over a hostile country and put into a prison camp. During the time in the camp, you met a wounded man who told you that his name was Tomomi Aikai and that he had important information. Move joystick. So if you move the joystick, it will move on to the second panel of information, and you decided to find a way out and get the information to your commander. But you must hurry. The information becomes worthless in 3 days. You can press escape to start a new game. You can press enter to toggle suspended animation, i.e. pause mode, and you can press spacebar during the game itself to select your weapon. Watch out for hidden objects, and you can see that now we get to enter our name, not on the high score table, but before we even start, so we can name and shame that person, and just like Turrican, it gives us a few smiley faces as well. So let's prepare ourselves for day one. This is Banzai! Bye-bye! Start of the game, we aren't given any weapons, but we have a knife, and by pressing the spacebar we can use the knife and toggle between the gun that we can fire straight away, and the gun has of course limited ammo, so we'll have to pick that up along the way. The knife is absolutely useless, so I won't be using that for the rest of this playthrough. So we get now our first ammo box, and hopefully, well, some grenades are there, and the grenades will definitely come in handy a bit later on. That's an airstrike, and we'll find airstrikes gunning us down just like Who Dares Wins and Who Dares Wins 2 on the Commodore 64, one of my favourite games on that platform. And you can see by moving into the centre of the screen we can shift the screen forwards, and that automatically will scroll at a constant speed, or if we move ourselves to the bottom of that screen then that will freeze, and that means that we can take on these enemies once at a time. Found some energy, and you can see the energy in the bottom corner. We haven't used much of it so far, but you can see advancing the screen too far means we're in a firefight, and that means that we're going to have to struggle our way through. This is the first level of 3 levels in the game. That's right, we only get 3 levels, but this game really doesn't take itself seriously, and this is a light-hearted version of Dogs of War that we've reviewed already. You can see people firing out of windows, and those aren't too much of a problem, but this guy firing out of the window, if you can hit the absolute pixel, you can hit him, or I tend to just throw in a grenade and that gets rid of him. Bye-bye. Banzai! You'll definitely get used to inching the screen forward so that you don't have lots of men surrounding us, and that tip is definitely recommended for Dogs of War that we've reviewed. An excellent game. This guy also reminds me of Rambo and the Rambo 2 game that we got on the Commodore 64, and it reminds me of other games we have to inch that screen along, particularly on this point. If you run forward, then lots of guys will jump out of the water and kill us, so I've learned the hard way by trial and error not to trigger everybody off and to pick everybody off slowly. As if that wasn't bad enough, we can also drown, and in this section we have to use the stepping stones, otherwise we will drown in the river. And again, I've lost lives needlessly at that point. And look at that sign, minefield, so we'll have to watch out for minefields as well in the game. And the game gets steadily more interesting, I wouldn't say harder, because of course we can take our time, there is no time limit to observe in the game. But I'm not going to wander into that minefield to get that extra energy, because for one thing we've got full energy and we've still got 3 clips of ammo left, and this particular crack, I'm using the ADF at the moment, will screen glitch occasionally. That's some kind of a memory hole in the screen, so I won't worry too much about that. It's 1 o'clock and you take a painkiller, so we're now halfway through day 1. You can see the distance left is marked by the distance left on the right hand side of the screen, and that really should be on the left hand side if it's called distance left. We've reached halfway, and it's definitely trial and error sometimes figuring your way out through the minefield, because we don't have a metal detector at this point, although we will get one a bit later on. And it's great that we can fire over walls and we can kill most enemies by 1 shot, which means we don't have to waste ammo and we can choose a time to attack, and those enemies are mobile. We do have the energy in the bottom corner if we do get hit, and that means, unlike Commando, it's not a one-hit kill. So thank God for small mercies, we don't have to die straight away in this game, we can limp on to that next section. And we've found that mine detector. So we found a bomb and we've also found the mine detector. And I've been slaughtered here maybe a few times, not because of the enemies, but because of the minefield. There is only one way to get through the minefield, and if we pull out the metal detector by pressing space, then a little light will blink on and off next to our grenades, and that will show us when we're just about to step on a mine. Unfortunately, the mine detector is virtually pixel perfect, so if we do wander in any direction once we've detected a mine, we'll definitely be blown up on it, unless we retrace our steps. There is only one perfect way, and you'll have to find that way through trial and error, and that really does slow down the player on level 1, and it's one of those things that you'll have to master, and this game, once it's mastered, is a joy to play through from beginning to end. So let's see what route I'm going to take through this particular minefield, of which we'll find another one. You can see it's boggy ground, we're going through a bog at the moment, and if we follow the shadow of this aeroplane all the way along, or the path, the skid mark, then hopefully that's safe because the plane's destroyed the mines, and if we are very careful we can run through to the very Commando-like tunnels, where hopefully we'll find some very Commando-like enemies jumping out at us on the other side. So let's put away that mine detector and start firing that gun. just like to thank all our 8k subs, and I didn't realise we'd get that far this quickly, and I hadn't actually narrated this ready for review, but you can see it's 5 o'clock and the day is soon going to be over. Hurry up! You can see the marker on the right, which is the distance left, is almost through. We've made it to the enemy camp. I think it's great that it tells us in the bottom corner when we've picked something up and what it is. It shows us our lives on the screen, it shows us the rounds that we've got, or our clips, and everything else that we need to know on that screen. And it's not shoot 'em up construction kit level, this is definitely one grade up above that, and it's a joy to play from beginning to end as we assault the first base. You can see the enemies do move around, they're not just static, and we can lure those enemies out and we can force them to run around, which means it's not just a passing game, it definitely depends on us, and those enemies will lie in wait through the windows until we attack them, and we can force a bullet through there or a grenade. Congratulations, you've managed to find your way through day one without losing your mind, but greater perils await you tomorrow. We advise you to rest up and joystick arm for a couple of hours, put your feet up and prepare for day two. Well, if you put your feet up, it's not really going to get very much further with this game. It's day two and we find another bomber trying to blow us up, and of course we'll have to memorise the bombing pattern because that really does deplete the energy before we even start. And firearm, I'm not sure, but I think we only have the one type of gun throughout the game, and weapons are severely limited. So we didn't use the bomb in the previous level, and you can definitely tell that this is going to be a firefight. And that is a chasm in front of us, it's not actually a wall, so the 3D effects used are at a premium, but it doesn't really matter. The fun on offer is simply in the gameplay and the fact that we can romp through these enemies, picking them down with headshots. Struggling with the energy, we've been bombed to death, and there might be random mines knocking around the edges of the screen, and there will be ambushes as well, people attacking us from in front, from behind, and also from the sides, and if we don't stop to take on those ambushes, of course we'll die. Another great thing and a great feature about the game is we can wander behind scenery, even behind these trees, so the 3D effect is used to good effect in the game, even though it's virtually a throwaway license affair. So we found some dynamite, and what we can blow up with that. We've got one stick of dynamite, and so let's hold on to that. Let's see if we can use that a bit later on. Let's storm the castle by taking it on arm's length. All these tricks will be mastered as you learn to play the game, and it's pretty infuriating to know where we're supposed to go here, because if we go into the water we'll die, and if we, well, I don't think we can go down into that chasm either. So this was one part where I got stuck on the game for ages. Let's see how it's possible to get through it. and by using the 3D effect of the landscape we can actually walk around this ledge, and that means it is actually possible to go onto the top bit and shoot them from above. So the 3D is at a premium, but we can use it, and so it's fantastic to see this kind of Rambo, kind of commando kind of game on the Amiga, which is certainly head and shoulders better than the Elite Commando that we got, and virtually a lot of others apart from Dogs of War. And this also reminds me of License to Kill, the James Bond game, where we can actually move the screen up at our discretion. We just move up a tiny little bit, shoot the guys on it, ammo is at a premium, and when we are ready to move forward we can simply move that screen along. The screen scrolls very smoothly, and it means that we can lure a few pixels of guys onto the screen and shoot them. It's 1 o'clock again, it's time to insert a painkiller and also disc 2. So I'm just going to swap those ADFs around, hopefully it will load, and then we can continue with that level. So Banzai was coded by Peter Toolby, and Peter Toolby was a great coder on the scene. He started out in '89 with this game with Swedish Software, and then he linked up with Andreas Tardik and also Stefan Boberg that you might remember, and he joined up with them for a game called Miami Chase, released by Codemasters. It was Grand Theft Auto on the Amiga. It's very much underrated because it's pretty difficult to chase the guys around, and I've never quite figured out the trick of it, so it got a massively low score. But Miami Chase is definitely ahead of its time and was Miami Vice and Grand Theft Auto and Vice City before Vice City was Vice City. So that great team then moved on to Alien Breed for Team 17, Andreas Tardis and Stefan Boberg, and Peter Toolby moved on to Alien Breed 92 for those guys, Team 17 in 1992, and they also created Full Contact as well, you might remember that game, in 1991 for Team 17, a nice full screen action game where we get to follow a formula and kick some people down into the ground. So not quite Street Fighter, but they did try to push the limits of the Amiga, and this fun effort probably got him the job at Team 17 in the first place. So this is great code and it's great graphics, created by JP Bergdahl, his only game on the Amiga, and the music was created by Jimmy Fredrickson, who also worked on Miami Chase and Full Contact and Rollerball, which we saw in the Top 100 PD Ripoff Special, which was created by Harold Muller. It's Banzai, and we get to take on a battleship, and there's various ways around that battleship that we can go. We don't have to go this way. I'm choosing to go this way because it's the easiest, and I've died, yes, on this section before. So there seems to be a crystal or something at the end. I'm not quite sure if you can jump across, if you grab that, but it's 5 o'clock. Time to take another painkiller. So very, very generous with energy. This game, it really does shower us with bonus energy so that we can get through it and have a great time playing it. See those effects as we get water effects and fire effects and things like that, and for a very low price licenseware game that this probably was, because it wasn't released to any magazines, it was definitely kind of a shareware licenseware demo feel to it. And if you'd ignore the cracking glitch that I'm playing on the ADF at the moment, I think it's great that it ambushes us and gives us unfamiliarity at every stage, so we'll have to memorise planes going overhead, people attacking us, but also mine fields. so we didn't pick up that can of coke. We've got half of the energy left, and if we get blown up on a mine, then there's nothing to tell us, and we still have the metal detector, and we can inch our way around the level, but hopefully if we avoid the hot spots like this crater, hopefully we won't get blown up by mistake. Congratulations, you've succeeded to amaze us by completing day 2, although fatigue and craziness is beginning to creep into your little body. Time is running out with only 1 day left, so you'd better wind up and get moving again. Now run for day 3. So that's a tip off yet again to Commando, rush the level. On day 3 we get to rush a rail yard, and I think there's something hidden in here to pick up for extra score. I'm not sure because it doesn't even put the score on the screen. Ironically, for 50% of games on the Amiga it usually gives us something, but it does tell us we found a firearm in there. It tells us if we found any more ammo. It's unusual to see broken windows, and we can't get through that way, so we're going to have to go through here. And going through actual places, we found a knife. It's a great thing, and I really do love going through places. And ambushes again, sometimes we can collide with those guys. It doesn't really take off tons and tons of energy, so you won't be ripping your hair out at every stage trying to conserve that health. If you're going to die, you're probably going to die in a mine, and these bullets, you can soak them up as long as you get to another can of coke or another energy top up along the way, or you can always take a painkiller if we make it through the first half or maybe the first third of that level. This is the third and the final level in Banzai, and we've managed it all the way through, and it's been a joy to play this from beginning to end, avoiding all these silly bullets. It's one step up from the shoot 'em up construction kit, but not quite up there with the legacy that is Dogs of War. It's certainly infinitely more playable than Leatherneck, and it's more fun than Commando. It's got those same 3 levels to it, and it's great that one bullet can traverse the entirety of that screen. And I had more fun playing this game than quite a few games like Watchtower, which really is heavy on the player. It's really difficult, and Watchtower AGA is this game for AGA, but it's incredibly difficult and I never got off the first level. So let's play with the trees again and go behind that scenery. You can see there's drop shadow effects that the player won't even notice. There's different plants on the ground. There's texture effects on the floor. It's not just a solid colour, and they really have tried to push some limits of shading and shadows that the player won't even notice. So there are great things to offer in this game, and I love it from end to end. We've still got that stick of dynamite, and I've still no idea what we're supposed to do with that, or even how to select it, probably pressing that space bar, and perhaps that blows everything up on that screen. And we can still inch forwards with that metal detector, because the mines are still gonna be there, and if you wander around the back of barrels and into traps you will find them, and the waypoints in this game take us all the way back, so that's why we've gone all the way back and survived that firefight all the way back. So it's better if you don't get killed, and it looks like we've even got ourselves an extra life somewhere along the way. Look at that, I've fallen over at the exact same mine as I fell over last time, which means this time I'm going to have to remember it. We're on our final life, and this time if we choose any other route beyond those traps, and those dugouts, hopefully we'll get through it without blowing ourselves up. You might notice the headband behind us does waggle around and it does move as we walk, even though our walking is pretty Nintendo-like. This is a classic Amiga game, so it falls into the category of not that great graphics but trying hard, not that great music but trying hard, and not immaculate gameplay but really trying hard, and that is what I love about the Amiga. I haven't spent the last 10 years berating these games, I've spent the last 10 years celebrating these games on this channel, and we've still got many classic Amiga games still to get through at some point on this channel. So the endless hits continues with this game. Banzai was created on the Amiga only, for the Amiga only, and it's an Amiga exclusive title, which is very fun, very playable, and it's great for all ages. So let's not toggle the bomb, let's just get through the minefield hopefully, and get through to the end of this game. And we're at the final base, so just the final guys to shoot out, and the glass doesn't blow up or anything like that. We don't get too many animations, but this game wasn't widely known about back in the day. It wasn't on the shelves as far as I know, and I'm not even sure how I found out about it, but once I did find out about it, Banzai is one of those Amiga classics, which if this had come out on the Nintendo would be an instant classic and any other machine, but on the Amiga it was capable of so much more that this was absolutely and utterly neglected and nobody really knows about it. But as a fun game it really does stand up, and for me I would be happy to pay a budget price for this game. Even today, look at that animations as we crack our head open on the aircraft, and I think there's some mines under the aircraft as well. So very fun. Unfortunately it wasn't reviewed, and all we've got is the Lemon Amiga score, which is pretty limited because there's only a limited number of people actually played it on Lemon Amiga. For me, I think as a shareware public domain game, I think the graphics and the sound and the playability are definitely on the 6.5 level, and overall this might even be worth a 7. This definitely would have been worth a 7 if it had 5 or 6 levels and we could play this thing all night long. It seems too short once you know what you're doing, and the replay value is simply getting over those early deaths and memorising the minefields. So apart from that, I think this would have been worth the 7. I can still only give it maybe a 6.5 out of 10. And just to end, you might wonder where Rambo got his headband from and the Karate Kid. Well, the Karate Kid got his headband because he said, I want a headband just like Rambo. And you might remember Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris didn't wear headbands in the classic movies. So all of the headband wearing in ninja films and kung fu films actually came relatively from the Karate Kid, who wanted one, who got the idea from Rambo. So where did Rambo get the headband from? Well, Sylvester Stallone said in an interview that he was in a bar in the first week of shooting the film and he saw guys on a stage in a pop video, British guys who were all wearing headbands in a video. I've tracked that video down. It was released that week, and the video was actually My Own Way by Duran Duran. So the Duran Duran headband went on to inspire the headband of, well, many films, including Rambo and Rambo 2, and also The Expendables and Kung Fu Panda and everything else. So headbands, actually all their existence, Duran Duran, and they got it from Well, Fred Perry, who invented it for tennis, so the Fred Perry headband is in this game. So congratulations, you've managed to complete 97.33333 recurring of this game, not 100%. Congratulations, you are now a great battle hero in the Banzai Hall of Fame. So that's me, Dan, number 1, 97.3. Now we get to check out our score on that high score table, which is a bit of a waste of time because most people can complete this with their hands folded, and that's fine because this is a great game and I definitely recommend it. For all stages you just want to shoot people without the 3D aspect of today's running gun shooters, you can do it on the Amiga. When you get tired of this, then just play Turrican. So thank you once again, 8,000 subs for backing this channel, and my Patreons make these videos possible. And thanks once again, and we'll see you in another one sometime soon. Thank you.